172 years ago, the first batch of indentured laborers from India said goodbye to their families, left their villages and boarded the Fatel Razack to come to Trinidad to work the sugar plantations. Unbeknownst to them, for some it would be the last time they ever saw their families and villages again, as after the indentureship period ended, some could not return to their birthland and had to settle in Trinidad to make a new life, leaving everything behind except their religious and cultural practices and traditions. As we celebrate Indian Arrival Day, one man, Pundit Dr. Deokinanan Sharma, son of an indentured laborer, spoke to Sherilyn Lewis to share some of the history during the indentureship period.
The arrival of the indentured laborers to Trinidad in 1845 to work the sugar fields, the Indian community has grown exponentially and now accounts for 35.4% of the population. Indian immigration to Trinidad spanned through 1845 to 1917, with over 140,000 East Indians taking up indentureship here. During this period, they worked the fields tirelessly, lived in deplorable conditions, and were even subjected to abuse. Upon their arrival on the Fatel Razack, they disembarked on Nelson Island, where they were later split up and sent to various estates. For Dr. Deokinanan Sharma, now the president of the NCIC, he can vividly recount his trip to India for the first time when he visited his father's village, hometown of Uttar Pradesh, to meet relatives he had never seen before. The village his father left as an indentured laborer at age 18 to come to Trinidad to work the sugar fields.
My father came as an indentured laborer in 1912 at the age of 18. So he was amongst the last probably couple hundred or maybe 1,000 or so that would have come. And fortunately he managed to keep in touch with his relatives because he was educated in Hindi and Sanskrit. And in fact, he told me when he came here for about 14 years, he had no contacts with them. He used to write them, but no one was replying. Maybe they were quite annoyed that he had left them.
Dr. Sharma said while his father could not read or write, when his indentureship period expired, he became a pundit and started teaching Hindi and Sanskrit, which he was fluent in.
He taught in Hindi and Sanskrit and so on. And after the expiry of his indentureship period, he started to do priesthood, Hindu priesthood, they call them pundits. And he lived his entire life thereafter as a pundit. And he was, as I say, he was very well versed in the language and so on. And in his early days, he was responsible for training a lot of pundits, especially in the Southland, because he settled in Debe.
Despite being raised by a father who only spoke Hindi and a mother who was illiterate, Dr. Sharma attended secondary school and university and worked as a civil engineer until his retirement, thus demonstrating the progress of the Indian community in Trinidad, like so many others just like him who were children of indentured laborers. When the indentureship period came to an end, the East Indians kept up their religious practices and cultural traditions, became successful business owners, and held high offices. But while the Indian community has solidified themselves in Trinidad, maintaining most of their customs, Dr. Sharma said some customs have been lost.
That's the biggest thing that has been lost. We have managed to keep the culture going, and you would have heard it that we sing a lot of Indian songs, bhajans and whatever, but we don't understand what we are singing. We learn the thing by rote. We follow the music, we teach ourselves the music, and we play the music as good as any. But if you ask the singer what he's singing, in many cases you will find he does not know the meaning.
Some of the folkloric music has also been lost, with only classical singing, bhajans and chautal becoming custom.
Lost a lot of the various types of folk singing that came. Right now, we have chautal, we have the local classical singing. That is the main one that has stayed back. And we have lost some of the folk dramas that used to be here, like Harish Chandra.
When the Fatel Razack sailed into the Gulf of Paria in 1845, it brought not only a new labor force, but also a new culture, because the East Indians brought with them their food, dress, language, music, dance, religion and customs, which 72 years later is still being practiced by the ancestors of indentured laborers. Sherilyn Lewis, C News.